Welcome back to From Boys to Men. We back again, continuing out our series, Criminal Justice Reform. And today, we got some good stuff to talk about. The last episode, we really got into some stuff. It got a little shaky over here with the conversation. Chuck caught us all by surprise with a couple of things, and I mean, it was a good conversation though. It wasn't like a bad conversation. We disagreed on some things, agreed on a few, disagreed on some more, and we had a good conversation.
The best thing about it, though.
We also had,
more than one way to skin a cat.
We had a story. So that phrase, who's out here skinning cats? Like
Country folks.
That's foul.
Hey,
to do what with it though?
Over in
Ooh, I don't want to know what you about to say.
Yeah.
I don't
Some parts of the world.
Okay, please don't get us canceled.
I like it. I don't know if I still like it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
I just thought about
some parts of the world,
canceled.
cats are a delicacy.
Okay, that was the best way you could have said that.
That was.
So
and still didn't like
kudos to you. It was still awful.
That was the best way I didn't like it.
Okay, so I should never ask that question. Welcome back. Terrible segue. Let's go ahead and.
Is it a terrible segue? Because we going into story time with Dom.
That could go any way.
That's also true.
We don't know what Dom got concocted in his head right now.
Skinning cats. So.
I mean.
Well, I guess we'll get right into Hey man, we having a little fun, man. So, G, let's get into. Man, I'll just do it.
I got it. Scene. A story time with Dom.
My bad, G.
This is crazy out here. Anyways. Yo, what up, good people? You know
What up,
it
good
is.
peoples?
You know what it is. Your boy Dom before Nick all day, every day,
Every
slow motion.
day.
You know what I'm saying? Now always packing, never lacking, never slacking. You know what it is.
Not to always packing again.
One time for the one time. You know what we do out here. Anything is possible.
Okay.
That's a new one.
Oh, no. He prepared that.
So check it.
I guess anything is possible.
Some
Right?
years ago.
We about to lose G for the whole whole show.
Most people in my family and my life know that, we've always, my family, my mom and them, we've always had dogs and cats, especially dogs, pets. If anybody been in my house, you remember Honey. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought she was
Sweetest dog.
Like everybody thought she was crazy. Nah, she lovely. We loved her. So this one time, right, I pulled up to the house later or whatever. I don't even know what I was doing out. Who knows, knowing me. As we say, I was bending corners in these streets. So, I come home. I think I was supposed to get her. She was outside in the back. And I'm like, all right, I'm the last one here, so I'm thinking about pulling her in or whatever because I think it was like chilly outside. I tried to get her from outside. She ran through the gate. Cause I'm like, I'm not finna walk through the back door to get her in. I'm already outside, get her walking through the front, walk in, go downstairs, put her in the cage, whatever. Woo. So I go through the back gate, and all of a sudden she jetted. I'm like, oh, what's going on? So I'm like, all right, let me hit a nice little breeze jog. Cause I'm not finna really chase you. You at full speed. That's stupid. I'm not finna catch you. That's 100%. So I did a little breeze jog, like, hey, honey, come here. She barking. She ran up to this one abandoned house, that they fixed up now, but she ran up to it, and she going crazy. All of a sudden, it's a gang of dogs just out of nowhere just ran out. I'm talking at least 15 of them. At least 15 of them.
That's her crew.
At least 15.
At least 15 of them ran out. I'm talking about they gone. She barking, chasing them.
Question, that little nice breeze of a jog that you had.
Oh, that breeze turned into me actually running a 4-1 back to the house.
All right, for sure.
Because literally, I started chasing them. I'm like, oh no, honey. I'm like, oh, her. All of them came out. I said, it's a herd of dogs. I turned around, 4-1, ran back to the porch with my key in the door, like, I'm peeking, making sure she ain't get attacked. So I might have to come back with a bat. Beat the dogs off my.
I'm coming back with a gun. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, in
15 dogs?
in the household
In
of
an abandoned
in the
house?
household of Regina, ain't no guns in there. So
True.
that I know of. That I know of. So I'm looking, but I'm thinking like this is stupid. All of them scattered, running from my dog. I'm like, okay, you a tough little cookie. You a tough little cookie.
Oh, so she was the pack leader.
Man, I don't know what she was. She was a boss. So I'm like, all right. At this time, I'm like, I'm still sitting on the porch peeking because I'm like, I'm not about to run down there with a pack of
Were a lot of
dogs.
the other dogs pits too?
I didn't get that close to find out.
Oh, okay.
I know at least 3 of them were
Well,
bigger.
I just say because in the city it's a lot of
At least
lot
3 of them
abandoned
was
pits, so.
3 of them was bigger than her
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what threw me off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I see him scattered. I'm like, you know, I'll come back to her trying to get her. 2 more ran up. I'm like, all right, she can take one. I can take one. We can do this. She did 1 growl and a bark. They ran. I said, all right, cool. Grabbed her by the chain, walked her to the house. I didn't know whether to be mad or happy, cause like you shouldn't have jetted out the gate like that.
But she looked out.
But
She the homie.
You a G for scaring off 15 dogs. And to this day, it's like I always love Honey.
That was her territory.
You know, I love.
It was great, man.
I'm not an animal person, but I also like not a person who just hates animals. If I gotta buy one, I'm buying another pit, just like Honey. It's
My guy.
100%. So all my animal lovers, you know what I'm saying, be careful with your dogs, you know, but also make sure that they not scary. Just keep it a buck. Because dogs with tails between their legs, they can't help you in a pinch when something comes up. Make sure your dog is protective of you.
Granted,
Seriously.
Honey put you in the pinch.
Yeah.
She put you in the pinch and then took you out the pinch.
That's okay though.
I can deal with that because
As long as you
took care of
understand,
it.
yeah. As long as you
yeah.
She took care of the
you don't
place.
put me in there and then jet away.
Yeah.
And then now
She said, no. I still got you though.
now I'm fresh meat.
I got your back.
You feel me?
don't
So
like
I'm getting
that.
dragged down the street by 6 dogs. You know, I don't want
would
that.
be awful.
That's horrible.
And that was Animal Planet with
Yeah. And that
Discovery
was
Channel with Dom.
There you go.
Oh man, story time with Dom is always
Something.
intriguing. That one wasn't bad.
That was actually kind of wholesome
was
a little
solid.
bit. You can
That
get
was
a
a
lot
solid
of
one.
you can get a lot of good stuff out of that.
So it's one time in Amsterdam, right?
Nope.
All right, cool.
And we're done.
Brought us back down to reality. So we gave him too much credit, guys.
Yeah.
That was a solid one. I'm a sucker for pits, so I grew up with him. My dog is mixed with pit, so I'm sucker for pits. People be giving them a bad rap, man. It's when it comes to the dog, it's always about the trainer, bro. It's always about the person that has the dog. Like that's just some do have natural things, but there are certain things that you can train out of certain dogs,
Yeah.
and you at least know you should know what you're doing with said breed.
We ain't telling you to go buy a wolf.
Yes.
But you know.
Now, hey, I see on
I seen a few.
On
I seen a few.
TikTok,
I seen a
bro,
few.
like
I
there's
seen
a
a few.
dude that
If you get them from puppies,
as a
you good.
wolf. It's not really like so he.
Doesn't
it
he have
still
a
lives out
nature
in the world.
reserve?
Huh?
He has a nature reserve. He's not like
Yeah,
raising
so like
them as
yeah,
pets.
like he doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't. It's not necessarily his in his house, but he does go to it
Right.
and hang with it and sure, like it's an actual.
But he
wolf.
also
Like,
has
it's a
like
big old.
lions too.
But you gotta be.
Yeah.
But you gotta be there from the beginning. for
Which
those type of
everybody,
animals, though. You
which the
can't-
same thing though. Everybody can't deal with those particular animals. Like you should know that. Like,
I'm not going. I'm not adopting a cheetah.
Everybody shouldn't be dealing with exotic animals.
He also makes
or
it
even
very clear-
specific breeds of a dog.
Nobody,
He also makes it
nobody
very
should be dealing with
clear
exotic
that
animals.
they are still wild animals and they
wild.
still have
Let them be wild.
instincts.
Exactly. It's like I'm not.
So
Yeah.
you just have to be very
We
careful.
can have a whole episode.
Yeah,
on that.
I will say this before we migrate, because you said that pit bulls get bad raps. I think they get appropriate raps.
I don't agree.
Because
Me
my
neither.
thing is, you don't know what said owner, how they train the dog.
No, I agree that
You
I'm
have
not
to have
saying-
a certain level. You can't just walk up to a pit bull and just assume that it's nice.
So no, I would say this. This is where the issue is. Now I agree with that.
Because I don't know.
But again,
how
that's
this.
the,
But
wait, that's
you're
the,
right,
that's,
though.
what he
that's the
said.
person, right?
Yeah, that's
That's the
right.
person not being aware of. I probably shouldn't go around this dog because I don't know this dog.
Right, but the
That's
thing
what I'm
is,
saying.
But the thing is, you don't. No one knows the person.
Most
Right,
dogs
but-
do not attack people just on a whim. Usually it's in defense. Usually they're scared. Usually if there is, or
Correct.
they were trained to attack for a reason, which doesn't. It's not too often that they're just attacking because they were trained without.
Yeah, we ain't
anybody
bringing
being
no
there.
dog fights over here,
point,
dogs. You know?
the point, or the issue, like he was getting to, isn't that the dogs themselves are inherently aggressive and wild and like that, right? It's all on how they were brought up, whether
But they
were
are
trained
inherently
that-
aggressive.
They're
That's
not.
why. That's why they have to be trained.
No,
to
they're
say
not.
I
that.
think they're inherently territorial. I don't think
Yeah,
they're
they're
inherently
not.
Which
aggressive.
makes them aggressive.
I don't agree.
Territorial and aggressive, two different things.
I agree.
Okay,
But-
we're gonna agree to disagree.
This is going to be a whole nother episode.
But they
if we
are
continue.
they are good dogs, and you have to train them well, though.
I agree. I think you have to. There are some dogs you have to train more and have
Yes.
to be more strict on for
Yeah,
sure.
But
and
I
pit
can
bull is one
say,
of
I can
those.
say
There's a
a
reason for
Chihuahua
that.
is more aggressive than a pit bull.
That's fine. There's dogs that's more aggressive than pit bulls, for sure. That
But
don't
that's
make-
what I'm saying.
That don't make pit bulls
but
less
people will
aggressive.
give, people will give a pit bull a worse rap than
Yeah,
a
because
Chihuahua.
they're the most well-known
Well,
dog. That's
well,
why.
yes.
The most name brand aggressive dog. But there's a lot more aggressive
They
dogs
Nike.
than pit bulls.
Name
yes.
brand?
They
Yes.
Nike.
It's just the easier name to say, pit bull. But there's a lot
Nike
of
of dogs.
It's an aggressive name.
Yeah,
So
I
people
mean-
like it feels like a pit bull. Like you feel
Yeah.
like yeah.
But there's
let's
definitely
go.
more aggressive dogs than pit bulls. But pit bulls are not.
But you know, to
Play dogs,
segue a little bit, and almost a decent segue is the fact that we're talking about. You mentioned about wild animals, and let them be out in the wild. This episode is going to be about prison a little bit.
I was gonna say
Not the best segue, but you know I tried. So
He
I
tried.
don't even know how that even.
Pretty sure that failed.
I somewhat
but-
got it. You
No,
somewhat
I ain't-
get
I
it.
ain't-
No,
I
you
ain't-
get it.
Well,
No, you
put
get
it this way.
You get it.
You know,
cops going wild.
You get it.
Cops.
There you go. Hey. Wait, that sounds like a.
Wait, hold
Never
on.
mind.
That sounds
Never mind.
awful.
Wait.
That sounds
Yeah.
goddamn.
Never mind. Never
I tried.
mind. That sounds
tried.
like something inappropriate. So this ain't OnlyFans. No, really, we do want to segue into.
Did Chuck just say, like you was considering
No, I'm
this?
trying to hold back a laugh.
I was supposed to say, like,
this
what?
episode is not what I expected.
No.
Prison reform. That's what we
Maybe.
want to talk about. I don't know how we get there though.
we just start and scene. All right.
I mean, let's
Prison
go,
reform.
let's go in
man.
the beginning.
So
Make a hard left
so
turn.
we discussed early on in the first part of the series about a lot of the first episode in the series was about like we talked about police racial discrimination, how the police treat different ones, pretty much those who are active out in the streets.
How
in
should
the
be
streets.
how should be standardized? How should be standardized?
Yeah, in
Like
the
training.
streets.
Yes, in the streets. Yes.
Never gonna let you hold that down. It's your fault. So
Hey, the
not a
police
lie.
do gotta be out there bending corners, though. You know?
But so we talked a lot about that, about the police in the first episode with the series. But in the second episode, we also the last one we just talked about a lot of judicial things, different things with the
Yeah,
court system.
we went in order.
Yeah, we talked
Pulled
a lot
over,
about the
go to
judge.
court,
Yep.
go to
And now
jail.
we have to talk about prison reform. We kind of mentioned it last week, but we didn't really talk about it. We just it was kind of mentioned. Prison reform is it's one of the things that people have been talking about for years. People, quote unquote, been trying to reform the prisons for years. But I don't know, man. I'm not in the prison, thank God for that. But it don't seem to reform to me. So I don't know. I don't know what y'all got on that.
So
man.
I think it starts with what exactly are we trying to reform? It's going to be tough to say prison reform when people don't agree on prison reform. There's different aspects to it that people agree and disagree on.
True.
Whether it's private prisons, public prisons, whether it's
Do you think there should be either or?
I think you're getting to murky water.
What does that
having
mean?
What do
When
you
we
mean?
talk about private or public prison?
Privately
someone
owned
owns
or public?
someone owns particular owned.
I'm gonna say I own a
Tax
big
funded.
piece of
Yeah,
land. I make a
versus
building
the
for people to
government
go to
owning
jail
it.
for, and you pay me
Yeah.
to send them there.
Yeah.
That's basically what it
So
is.
someone's making money off of the prison rather than state funded.
I understand. I just wanted you guys to tell the people. Y'all looking at me. I
Oh,
you
okay.
didn't know.
My fault.
I wanted y'all to
My
tell
bad.
them to clarify what we
Yeah.
were talking about. My bad. I didn't.
And you're saying, do I think there should be? No, I don't. The private prisons, I don't believe in, because I think you get into murky waters with those, with private prisons when you have billionaires making money off of people going to jail.
I agree.
So-
I feel like those prisons are essentially plantations.
But I understand why they're there. But I feel like we have to.
I think
there had to be some.
Are there
really
more
strict,
private prisons than public prisons right
Now
now?
that I don't know.
I'm
the
not
answer
I don't
gonna lie
know.
to you. I don't know.
I would
Check that out
assume
online.
so.
I think my biggest problem.
I think the biggest thing is because the government can't necessarily make that much money off of prisoners the
cut him
way
off, man.
a private prison can. Seeing that it would be, public funded, right, tax funded.
Right.
They to say, hey, you guys as citizens have to pay more money in your taxes so that we can support prisoners.
Yeah.
That wouldn't really go over well with a lot of people.
That's the other thing.
What were you about to say?
Well, before I was really interrupted by Chuck over here,
My bad.
You didn't have to say that.
I didn't, but I needed it to be known.
Well, I don't care.
I think going to the beginning, the biggest issue is for me is how people don't realize it's nothing illegal with a prison. I understand why we have prisons. I think it sucks, and I think I kind of relate to Chuck how he said last week. Some things need to be changed for reformation for people, but I think that starts with, unfortunately, how it started from the 13th Amendment. Unfortunately, unless history knowledge, it's saying we're not slaves no more. Woo, unless it's considered a punishment to be one, which is basically all a prison is. You working for less than $1, less than anything to survive. They feed you bare minimum food so you don't die. It's they have no extra nothing. You literally are treated like you're
Like your animal.
Exactly. Oh, good. See, that's how you see. I like. Okay, now I get the reach. All right, cool. Like you an animal in the cage.
But are you?
Hold on, I was on my
Are you
tippy
against
toes.
it?
Wasn't that much of a reach?
Still reach.
But are you against that?
Am I against it?
What, treating prisoners like animals?
Yeah, like if you say it, I'm against how inhumane it is. Am I against the actual prison itself? No.
I think there should be different levels. Because
And
I would think
that's a good argument with it.
When you say different levels,
somebody
what do you mean?
shot a 5-year-old. I don't want them to have nothing humane.
Pedophiles.
What? I don't want them to be treated humanely. I want them
Why?
to be living.
Here's
I want
my
them to
question.
eat.
That's a
I want
you're a
them to
human.
go to have a
Why,
bed.
That's
though?
a human. I want you to
But-
be. I don't
Let
want
me
you
ask
to
you
be.
this. Let me ask you this. Keeping in mind what you spoke on last week, right?
Right.
So pedophile, someone who killed the child,
Right.
They get 15 years. Mm-hmm. You treat them completely inhumane while they're in prison.
Well, what's completely inhumane?
I don't know. You explain it. You the one that you wanted, right?
Yeah, I just don't
What's-
think they
what's-
should have no type of luxury.
Who said anything about
What's luxury in prison?
You
But
don't-
that's what I'm saying. Well,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not
rich
saying
prison is different.
Yeah.
No, they be
I'm
playing
not
golf.
saying
So
you
it's
give
a little
them
different.
any luxury. I'm not saying you give them something that's gonna make them feel good while they're in prison.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you treat them inhumane, right? You're essentially treating them like an animal.
Right.
Yes.
Right? While they're in prison. This is the person that already has the mentality that it's okay to molest and do things bad to children
Right.
or kill children or whatever. And then you set them back out in the world after bottling all that up and treating them that way for 15 years. What do you think is going to happen?
So if
They're going to continue to do the same
if
thing.
someone has the opportunity to get out, right,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that they didn't do something that cost them life,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different prison to me. So if you're saying someone, because there's different levels to.
So do you think like
Being
murderers
pedophile
should
is-
only be in prison with murderers?
Depending on the degree of murder. If they,
I'm gonna
because
be real.
you get-
That sounds like a great idea, but it sounds like a bad idea at the same
Oh
time.
yeah, no. I'm talking about a perfect world scenario. So I mean, we gonna get into the real stuff, but the perfect world scenario, yes,
a good logo to put
yes,
on
those guys who
Be prepared. Merch coming with merch in a perfect world.
yeah, 100%. Because I'm talking about in this world that ain't gonna ever happen.
But
But
let's just talk about it in this world. Not in the
okay,
perfect
cool.
world.
In this particular one, it's tough. Because you have people in there who's there for a year, and you got people who's there for life. So
You got people who have premeditated. You got people who actually
got
ran
drunk
somebody
one
else.
night and ran.
Well, let's also be clear on what life is, right? Life is what, 25 plus
Nah.
years?
No, life is
No,
life.
life is life. You get
You
life.
can get 25 to life.
But
and
if you
then,
get- but if you get
but if you
to
get
life,
life, you're
you-
doing
Well,
life.
Because I've always had the understanding that life and natural life is two different things.
I think it depends
So
on the judge.
I get a little hazy
Let's find out.
on it too sometimes because I've even heard somebody having multiple life sentences And I'm like, well,
Well-
how are they serving that?
Well, no, so they're not. That's just
They in prison as a ghost?
Yeah,
It's not compounded. Is
No,
it?
all they do that for the victim. So typically, if it's multiple life sentences, they've done something to multiple folks. So you're gonna get a life sentence for this. So that victim don't just think, oh, they got life sentence for that person crime. No, you got life sentence for them, for her. So then they say, some outrageous number. You got 600 years in prison.
Okay, I got it.
Like they did with.
So life,
Sandusky.
when they say
Mandela?
say life imprisonment,
Mandela.
I'm joking.
Wow.
Because you talked about how many years. I'm talking about the
when they say
unnecessary years.
life imprisonment, they mean a minimum. They saying you can be possibly at least a 25 to life. That's the whole point.
Yeah, the whole 25 to
When they
life.
say natural life, that means
life.
you're not getting in it.
Yeah,
You're not
you
getting
were
out.
right.
You're
Yeah.
right.
They are
Yeah,
different.
so you get 25 to life, meaning that there's a possibility of either parole or something after.
You get natural life
after 25 years.
You get natural life, or you.
But
ain't
when
get
they
out.
say life without the possibility of parole,
That's
that means
natural
That's
life.
natural life.
You gone.
Right. So what I'm saying is, let's say somebody goes in at 19.
Okay,
They can still get out and do the same thing.
correct.
Not saying that
They
that's
probably won't, but yeah, correct.
right. Not saying that that's something that happens all the
Yeah.
time or anything like that. But I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, but
You got
then-
consider mindset. Your mindset
Yeah,
changes when you
so
get in there.
I know. Well, I don't know
Good
this
or
person, but I've heard of them by proxy. Right? They're,
Yeah.
gentleman who he hadn't done any like egregious crimes or anything like that.
Right.
But he's in and out of prison, and he's gotten to the point where he's an older guy now. He's in like his 60s,
Right.
but he went back to prison
Yeah. Someone prefer
for something petty, because at this point now he feels more at home in prison,
Correct.
than he does in the
And
real
see,
world.
I think that
That's
goes
most
into,
of the time.
but that goes
Yeah.
into the reform part. To me, I feel like you're lacking in the reform process if somebody wants to go back to prison. I feel like because reform is to get them to be able to come back into the world and live with the rest of us in a humane manner.
In a perfect world.
No, not even in a perfect world. In our
Well,
regular broken world,
the
that is what
idea
reform is
of-
supposed to be.
The idea of
Ideally, I
modern
should say.
prison, right? To some, and I can't say this to all, but to some, the idea of modern prison is to reform prisoners to become productive citizens of society, right? If I personally feel that if I'm in a place to send someone to prison, my whole goal is to reform them for the crime that they committed,
Right.
right?
Right.
And hopes that when they do get out, they can not only live in society, but also be kind of a voice to say, hey, this is where I've been, this is where it can lead you, this is what happens, this is the consequences, this is how the victims have to live with that.
Right.
Right? That, for me, right, in a perfect world.
But we know that's not gonna happen.
Right?
That's just
Well,
But
that's
it
not,
can.
no,
That
no,
can.
no,
It has happened.
It happens.
It
No,
has
it happens a
happened.
lot more than you think.
It's going. No. It's going to happen. There are a lot of people who are going to go to jail. They're going to learn their lesson. As we're talking about people who don't even really need to go to jail, but people who've done something heinous, they have to go. Some people will go to jail, learn a lesson, come home. Cool. The problem is there are a lot of situations in which there are just bad people.
I agree. Sure.
They're just bad people sometimes.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you do, how you do it. The people who are in and out of jail, and to go back to your point of, and your point, saying that if they want to go back to jail, then the reform part, this issue on the reform part, I sort of disagree. I think the issue there is because of what happens after they get out. It's the outside part. They don't feel comfortable outside because they're typically ostracized. They typically cannot get a job.
Yes.
So it's easier just to say, I'm just going to be inside. I don't have to hustle. I don't have to try to sell drugs because
what I was
I got everything I need in jail. I'm good here.
What I was saying though is that there's
They have to have programs for when they get out of jail.
yes,
That's
I agree.
what it
I
is.
agree with that. I agree with that. I still think there is a certain mindset though that goes with them feeling like that's more comfortable. And it's not. I agree with you. You're right. There are some. I think they go hand in hand, in my opinion. I still think there needs to be more done to where they can get back into the world. But then also, like you said, when they are out here, there has to be more done. Yeah. I think they go hand in hand together. So I don't want to make it seem like they're separate. I actually don't disagree with you on that.
Well, can we say that the thought is like when you say reform, we can say it starts when you get in. We can completely agree. It starts when you get in. But we're gonna say, but we can't say it should end when you get out. It should end after.
Not. It's a whole different ballgame.
It should never end until you feel
now
like you're ready.
They do have some programs in certain places.
Yeah, but a lot of those programs they end up being like what do they call those places where you go to prison and you get when you get out of prison with some houses, halfway houses.
Oh yeah,
right. They have those, but those they're limited on what they can do.
Right.
Right. And I think
it's still in prison in my mind. My personal opinion when you go to whatever, because it's like you came from a strict. We tell you what to do, do.
For some people, that's needed.
Yeah.
Not for all people.
But and that's what I'm saying. Like when you get some people who get there, it's like, all right, I learned the people who learn lesson but still have to go there. Now I have to follow your rules when I can't even do anything to help myself get out of it because of your rules.
But the reason those are there is because that whole structure, straight to free, that process was not working. That whole I'm just gonna be in jail 10 years and I'm gonna get out and I can do everything, anything I want right now.
But the thought that they have for halfway house the thought they have for I would say the idea for halfway house, I can see it being, I can see it could actually work, but the way it's implemented right now, no.
There are programs for juveniles, right? And I was actually in one of them.
What you do?
It's a long story.
Wow. He just put this man on front like that.
Long story. But that's not the point.
He did just start trying to tuck it in there like it was nothing, too. He was like, I was one of them. And, so... I
was like, what on, bro?
Yeah, what?
I wasn't always a good child.
Okay, cool.
I made some mistakes as a child. Anyway, point.
We know that.
There are programs for individuals when like if you're in juvenile, say you're in juvenile, right? And you commit a crime as a kid, but they're not trying you as an adult. And say when you are released from juvenile, you don't have a home to go to. They'll put you in a minimal security home, or not a home, but a facility that allows you to still go out and go to school, still go out and get a job.
Right.
But you're there. They still feed you. They provide you, somewhere to sleep and all this other stuff, right? And there's different activities you can do there while you're there. There's counseling. There's things that you can do like taking trades and stuff like that while you're there, right? I feel like that should translate to the adult system as well.
I agree.
Because if I have someone who's been in prison for 20 years, 30 years.
The world is different.
Right? Completely different, right? If I just sit you out in the world.
Kind of goes into your conversation about
right?
Afterwards.
Ultimately, you're going to fail.
The reason.
Right? And then you either going to end up back in prison or you just going to give up and try and, take your own life.
You went in when Pagers just came out. You come out. We on the iPhone 13.
You're just not caught up.
Yeah, it's over.
No, seriously.
It's
that's
over.
a real thing.
It's literally over.
They don't know nothing. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Whole different world.
The only skill you guys learn how to type.
There are people that went into prison when
before cell phones.
Say you were being born and now they're getting out now.
There were guys that were in prison.
Guys who went for 25 years.
There were guys that were in prison, and these were guys that were proven innocent. But there were guys that were in prison since like the 60s and 70s. Got out. They're old men now, or old women now. And back then, heck, we ain't even had cell phones. We ain't had computers. Nothing.
Yeah.
You get out and you got cars driving themselves.
Or imagine being a black man who was in that time.
And you get out, your mindset, your
it was a
dynamic.
half different world. My bad.
I don't know, man, because back then, 60s, 70s.
I'm only saying that because of what I said. Because when you're a black man, and that is a half different world. It's pretty, there's still some unfortunate similarities to this day. But in real life, there are a lot of differences.
Yeah.
So it would be a huge difference. Like you were used to one way. And now it's a
Like
completely different thing.
I think then
That makes sense.
And even if, like, say for example, someone went in prison like 10 years ago, we're talking
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
2012 is a big difference between now.
Man,
Right?
2012, big difference.
As I
from
think about it,
2022.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mask mandates.
So let's say somebody does
Tesla?
get out
Let's go off rip, Tesla.
2022.
Tesla.
You know,
Tesla.
right.
What does that have to do with anything?
Driving yourself a car. You wouldn't even stuff you would see that was all digital in your brain, and then you see it on the street. You see
Yeah,
hoverboards,
I don't
people
think that's the
flying.
point is,
It's stuff that you don't expect to
I don't
notice.
see no self-driving Teslas on my street, but on the street you live on. But
actually, side note, somebody did just get pulled over for sleeping in a Tesla while he was driving.
yeah,
But,
you can't sleep
No.
while
No,
it's
that's-
driving.
that's
No,
illegal.
no, sir.
I
have
just
to
I might as well
watched
drive
it.
at that point. That would be my whole purpose for having it drive for me, so I could go to sleep. I'm not
saying,
even
if I'm-
joking.
Technology ain't there
I'm putting
yet.
a- if I
Legislation's
get it,
not
I'll
Be
there
honest.
yet.
If I put an extra $12,000 on this car,
But I think we're getting off topic.
You gonna leave me alone.
We've been off topic a lot, but go ahead.
But no, I just want to get to that point where, you know, if we really had something in place where we can take prisoners who've been in prison for a long time, or prisoners who are repeat offenders,
Yeah.
and put them in that type of program that teaches them different ways to survive in the world.
Yeah,
or at least get
Right.
them up to date.
Get them up to date.
Yeah.
Give them opportunities. Give them, you know, resources that allow them to feel comfortable in the real world, so that
Legally.
they don't feel like they got to go out and commit more crimes so they go back to prison.
that's true. I agree.
And the problem with all of this is
It's not a perfect world.
if you do, that's
No,
if you go
funding.
if you do the state funded,
Yeah.
that means that the taxpayers have to pay for this.
yeah.
Are the taxpayers paying for prisoners? They don't want to.
Well, because
So
there's a certain
then-
attitude that people have
It's a
towards
stigma. I was
prisoners.
say it's a stigma.
Correct. So now you go
Sucks.
towards the private funding. So now here's the issue. So now we're back at square one. So now we
I
got
have
private
another
funding.
solution.
Where now they're
But I'm gonna let
paying
you
you to put people. It's just it looks bad. Private funded jails just look bad.
I think there is another
Money got to come
solution.
from somewhere.
I think there's another solution, right? Prisoners, I don't know the figures or whatever, but prisoners actually work in prison to make more money for private prisons and for funded prisons than most people know. I worked for a company a while ago. It's an IT company, and we managed a call center in prison for a energy company. Now, when you consider how much money these energy companies out here are actually banking,
Especially in a prison. My God.
right? They're not paying these prisoners anything more than, say, $1,
If
$1.50,
that.
if that.
Which
right?
which they using for something in there for.
Exactly.
Let me get
smokes or
these honey
something, yeah.
buns.
Exactly. It ended up
Honey
going
bun
right
cost
back into
$5.
the prison.
What?
So here's my thing, right?
Oh, you think they should make money in prison?
I think the money,
That's kind of wild.
I think the money. Not at all.
So I'm no lie.
They go to prison and get a
no lie.
they get a free
when
job?
you first started talking about that, about them making money, like I thought you were going there, and I was like,
No.
no.
I'm just
I
saying-
was like, I would want to go to prison too.
I'm saying,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't wanna make it so they wanna
if
go.
we have a public prison
Yeah.
and a company, say an energy company wants to come in and use the prisoners for labor.
Right.
I think that company needs to pay that public prison, and that budget goes towards prison funding. That goes back into supplying food for the prisoners, supplying whatever a prisoner needs in prison to have that reform that we're hoping for.
It's a good idea. The problem is people, the people that want their money. That's why people want private
Absolutely.
prisons.
Yeah.
They want
Absolutely.
their money.
Yeah, they
But
don't want to pay for
At
that.
the end of the day, the companies are still going to end up paying less to that prison than if they were to pay someone like one of us that are out there in the real world.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why private prisons was created, was because
Greed.
taxpayers don't want to pay.
Greed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greed.
That's greed.
That's
100%.
really what it comes down to. And then you realize that you're paying for someone who stole from you or killed your brother or something. You know, people personalize that stuff.
Absolutely.
They're not thinking of the whole bigger picture, which I don't expect them to. They're thinking of they're personalized. I'm not paying for that.
I think
paying for that guy.
another thing we could do is take a small amount from the military budget.
No.
Boy.
Oh, I love that you said that because this is my point. Forget taking from the military.
You said send them to me.
I'm 100%. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Y'all talking about
You said
reform?
with the wait
because-
with the collars on from or not the collars but the
you
the
can
chip
defer.
in the
Let's
net.
say you can defer a 5-year sentence,
For 2 years.
2 years in the military.
Because now you
Hey, that's fair, especially for non
And you have to try.
non-lethal crimes.
crimes.
Not-
Yeah.
And if it and if it don't work, then
Send
you
them
go.
back to prison.
Finish your term.
Boom.
Finish your term.
Why not?
That's
That
right.
helps the military out.
Now, if they're in the military, now there's no way for them not to get some type of
Well,
reform.
also,
Yeah,
if you-
obviously I'm not talking about
Not just
murder,
reform,
but
Then you ain't get paid.
You
You just in
also
the military.
here's the
drug
other
dealers and
benefit to
stuff.
that,
Oh,
right?
military.
Oh, 100%.
If it
Military.
goes well with them in the prison, they have the option to continue their career in the prison.
Drug dealers like to live in the jungle anyway.
Yeah,
in the military.
Yeah, they can keep going.
Drug dealers like live in the jungle anyway.
They infantry though.
They out on
Right.
the streets.
They,
with dogs.
they absolutely infantry.
100%.
No rank.
Thanks, bro.
Until
Not one. Thanks. You
until
weren't in there first.
until
I wasn't paying
several
attention, so
years
sorry, Bill.
after your term is completed.
I'm
You
with it.
can start then growing
I've
your rank.
always felt that. I mean, this is terrible, but it is easier to. I mean, yeah. If you,
I mean, that's
you
a
in
great
prison,
option.
Because
Might as
the
well go to the
prisons are
military.
overfilled anyway.
what you gonna do?
We got to free this up, or build some more. Anybody doing that? So we got to free up some of these prisons. So we got to find another route other than just throwing people
Well,
in jail.
well, I feel like if you're
freeing up prisons is a whole another conversation too, though. With maybe not throwing certain wrongful
For sure.
people in jail. So
I don't think drug addicts.
whole
should go
lot
to
of
jail.
conversations.
no,
but I
drug
don't think-
addicts shouldn't go to jail. They
That's
should go
crazy.
to
Rehab.
I feel like
100%.
I feel
Straight
like
to
it should be a
rehab. The
different
person who
type
sold
of
it to them go to
rehab.
jail.
Rehab and psych ward.
I
Honestly,
feel,
Most
I
of
feel
them
like a
selling it
different
don't
type
even
of
do it.
rehab though.
They got
Another
just
same
killing
thing with the
folks.
same thing with the military, right? You have special divisions for these prisoners. You can't put them in with regular military people.
I'm about to say
personnel.
military prison.
Drug
Completely,
users
military
going-
prison completely different than the actual regular
drug
prison. too.
users going to prison is the
It's just
so
dumb as
They
hell.
still use drugs in the prison.
Yeah, drug
because
users.
they don't actually care about them getting off of drugs. They just want to
I need
fill
to
up
get- I
the
need to get you-
prison
I need to get you off the
because it's a
street.
private prison.
It's
It's,
gonna
gonna
make
make more money for them to be in prison.
No, I need to get
It's
you off the street.
like,
I need to get you
LA
off the streets because the
it's
streets will
kinda
look
the
better
same
without one
thing-
in there.
It's kind of the same thing that happened in LA. For a while, they were taking homeless people off the street and throwing them in prison just to get them off the street.
And now you got a whole street in LA that's nothing but homeless people.
It's a lot of homeless people in it's
I
forget
forgot
LA
the
in
name
San
of
Francisco.
it. Yeah, I forgot the. It's a name. It's a
ton-
whole.
it's like
it's a whole strip. What's the name of it? I forgot.
It's
the name
like
of it.
hobo land in San
My
Francisco.
friend, my friend was just over there too.
Like, literally, it's a
Told me
whole
about it.
strip
I
of
forgot.
nothing but homeless
Yeah,
people.
I forgot what
they
the name
homeless,
of-
but they out there
I don't know.
making like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. They just can't
Change
afford
bottles.
a home, and
I
so they
was
get
say
tents.
50,000 in San Francisco. You might as well be poor.
You are poor.
50,000 in Michigan. Hey,
You still kind of poor.
Yeah.
It's like-
you- I mean, if you by yourself, you straight. But if
Skid
you
Row.
got family, it's rap. You said
Skid
Skid
Row,
Row,
by the way.
Yeah,
if you got
Skid Row,
one
yeah.
other person party to be cared for with
It's a wrap.
$50,000, it ain't-
it's rap.
I mean,
You struggling? You check the check.
and that's I only say that because I know this is getting off into a whole nother thing, but
Is it? Because at the
I
end
only
of the
say
day,
that because everything rises in this country.
Yeah.
In this non
inflation
perfect
is
world.
trash. I don't know who made that up, but you know.
the government.
We're gonna get canceled.
Just saying, I don't know who made that up.
I mean,
Hey.
do you think it was? Do you think it was honestly random people, just like, yeah, I want to pay inflation.
Nah, bro. I mean, I understand the concept. Everybody knows the concept of inflation. It's basically just the price of everything else to sell something or to make a service
Yeah.
goes up.
If the
I
price
have to
of me
charge you-
making it goes
I have
up,
to-
the
I have to
price of
charge
you
you
buying it
more.
goes up.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's stupid,
common
but I
sense.
get it.
Yeah, and you know
It's stupid
you know,
on who part?
Wait.
The
You know
price of
who-
the stuff or the price
you know
of the
who's
food?
making the prices to start everything? Somebody else who just wants more money. So and the
It's
person
stupid.
and then the person who is a domino effect. Then the next person is like, well, they raised it, so
Well,
I
you
got to
know-
raise mine. So now we got to raise theirs.
You know,
So
wood
raise
costs a lot of
mine
money
over
now.
this. It's
You mean to tell
domino.
me a tree costs a lot of money?
So really, it's stupid on the first person's fault. It's not stupid. It's actually smart, but
It's greedy?
It's greedy. And
Yeah.
from the first person that starts the situation.
Well, see,
now, like I said, it's a
deeper
domino
than that.
effect. It's a domino effect
We
beyond that, though.
we kind of dumbed it. I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
We dumbed it down. We dumbed it down.
It's
but
deeper than that
because it's really
the
what's the
person who
topic,
made
so I
it.
just kinda-
The person who made it, it might cost more for them to get said thing to
Sure.
make.
Exactly. That's
Like,
why. But why?
That particular
Well,
It
like
starts
well,
somewhere. It's just like traffic,
a lot
bro.
of-
Somebody started.
You know I hate it.
Somebody started
I don't
it.
understand it.
And
I
it
still
didn't
don't
have
to
to
this
be
day.
started. Is what I'm saying. That's all I'm getting at. That's all I'm getting
Well,
at.
no,
it's deeper
no.
than that. 10
It-
cars
I think-
get on
I
that
think
shit.
it's a little different.
But then I gotta stop
Bro.
to merge
No.
over. Now everyone's stopping behind me.
I hate
And-
traffic. It makes no sense.
Kind of
what happens.
like
Traffic jam.
prisons, you know.
That's all it is. Is a bunch of people getting on and off expressway at one time.
Yeah, from the left lane.
No, I'm saying
True.
100 people get on the expressway because they all get off work at the same time. Get on the expressway.
Cool.
People gotta
People-
stop.
No.
But,
100 people
no.
on the freeway.
But if people
going
knew
the
how to
same
merge
speed.
properly, that's a whole nother.
everybody on the freeway going like
That's a whole
70.
nother
No, bro.
episode, bro.
No.
It's so much more.
We're gonna
to
have
it
a
than
whole
just
episode.
Everybody got off.
Listen,
At
Everybody gonna
We're
try to
gonna
get over
have
to the
a
next
whole
lane at the
episode
same
on
time.
on
and do it at the
traffic.
same time.
We just
Yeah, we
venting.
gridlock.
We just
We're gonna
venting
have
now.
an
We got
entire
irritated.
episode
Somebody-
on
we just got mad.
traffic.
I'm sorry.
I told you.
and it's gonna be fun. But
Traffic is just because it's
a concept that don't make sense.
It's not that
It don't make sense.
The domino effect
don't
makes
make
sense.
sense, I mean.
No,
It's the beginning. It's the first few people
If you
that are in the
if you're
front of
going
traffic.
80,
That's
I'm
how
going
I don't
75. How are we in traffic? Everybody move.
No, my thing is I don't understand how we stop.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely
in
don't
an
get
extended
that.
period
Oh,
of
I
time.
know.
I definitely don't
I
get that.
understand
I've
how we
seen
slow
it happen.
down. I understand how.
I've
care to
literally
elaborate?
seen and watched the people
He got choked up.
do this. Like, and you was right. When you're in the far left lane
And your exit right here.
and your exit right there,
That's
Bruh.
the worst.
people will slam on their brakes and creep over, literally
Or-
stop in their lane.
Or they'll go as fast as possible, and everybody's like, "Oh!" Like,
that too.
Southfield.
But what?
and they got 5 feet before they exit, and they're like, "Oh!"
What I've seen
Dom talking
literally
about it, Dom,
stop
Dom.
traffic
Bending
is
corners.
people stopping in the lane on the freeway
Oh yeah.
Stop it in the middle in the
with
freeway.
nobody in front of them,
It's
just
so-
tund to get over.
It's so irritating.
That's
Oh my
annoying. If you,
goodness.
I mean, I've
They
been in
becoming
that.
a full stop.
I've been in that
Like,
situation.
oh my
If
goodness.
you,
But as I said, it's deeper than that because that can't happen every day in.
I
But it
feel like it
does.
does.
No, L.A.
Yeah, no.
Atlanta?
LA is
Atlanta.
gridlocked. Every
LA is
day,
just
all
too many
day.
people.
Atlanta.
Atlanta and
Yeah.
LA might be fighting for the top spot
I'm trying to
together.
tell
It's
you.
two. They both just as bad.
I've
No,
driven in Atlanta
no,
traffic.
LA
that junk is
different, bro.
god awful.
Nah, bro, you don't.
They said it take 4 hours to get about 3-4 miles, bro.
Well, yes, I know LA is.
That's
That's just
wild.
because it's more people.
Yes,
I'm
it's
not
too
saying
many
that the
people.
traffic's still not as. I don't think you ain't been
I've-
in Atlanta, bro.
I've been stuck in Atlanta traffic before.
Bro, not
A few
between,
hours?
Not at
not
three- not
between,
at 3
not
o'clock.
between
Not at
3
2, 3.
and 7,
I
my
swear-
boy.
I swear you
It
have
is-
it.
It is
I swear
another
you have
animal.
It is god
On
awful.
specific
You better have 2
freeways,
bottles
too.
of water,
It's-
a
it's-
sandwich.
And I was going downtown, didn't know.
It's
I had no
another
clue.
world.
Oh, you was
dog.
going-
I
Oh, you
decided
wild.
to go downtown.
Wow, at like 3 o'clock?
At about 3. Well, I was coming in from South Carolina. So I didn't. And this is the first time me ever going to Atlanta. I didn't know. So I'm like, oh man, I'm about to go to Atlanta for the first time. This is about to be fun. Nah, it wasn't.
Ultimately, your LA is probably worse. But I'm just saying Atlanta is they pretty close.
The point of the conversation, traffic is stupid. It
But
don't make
anyway,
sense.
back to prisons. So
As a bad segue.
No, it's not because you in prison when you in traffic jam.
You
That's
are.
true.
You
Locked
are.
up.
You are.
and when
That
you
ain't a-
get
that's a
out,
good reach. That's
and
a
when
good
you
reach.
get out,
And it is absolutely
It's a reach.
inhumane.
it's
Absolutely.
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 And then
And
do
when you
something
get
about
out
it.
of that traffic, you heat it.
And you feel free though.
You feel free, but you mad
Yeah. And you don't know
that you
what
had
to
to
do with
spend
yourself.
all of that time in that traffic, and you like.
And you
you
have
feel
no
like-
and you
So
have
I
no
know LA
reasoning
got
on why
6
you was in there.
lanes
You have no
instead of
clue why you was
That's
in there.
true.
You have no clue
They,
why you was
they
in
have
there.
they have express lanes.
It's
And
still
you-
gridlock.
And
and
still
you
gets
feel-
gridlocked.
And you feel like
I
once
don't
you get
understand
out,
that.
that your whole life is in a tailspin, just like when you get out of prison. You don't know what to do.
That's a little
So
reach.
it's-
And you so behind and
Not
late,
a reach.
and late
Not
for
a reach at
everything.
all.
I don't think I'm in
So
the
it's-
tailspin when I get out of traffic.
No, I'm saying your life. You feel
Your
like
mental.
your life.
Your
You
mental.
feel like you've missed out on. Like you're on your
missed
way
out
somewhere.
because you were-
so now your whole.
I feel like I'm late.
100%.
That's
even
the
when I'm
tailspin.
going home.
That's what we're getting at.
When I had a
Alright.
pager and they got cell phones, I'm late.
You have
I'm late to the party.
You expired.
Exactly.
You're expired.
Exactly, bro.
Expired?
Expired.
Expired.
I feel like you wanted to get one last point out before we ended the episode.
No, I just want to get back to prisons. I mean, I feel like
You want to get back to the prison. All right.
I've never been to prison, but you
Oh.
know,
You said
I
it.
just want to make that clear. I've never been to
said it.
prison.
Hey, none of us never been locked up.
I've been to
Locked
juvenile.
up, we ain't
I was locked up in
Akon.
juvenile.
Oh, my bad.
But no, I feel like with prisons, we definitely need to. I feel like. All right, these guys.
My bad, man.
Hey, so all in all, we all do
bad,
agree
Chuck.
the reform part. That's one of the biggest things. The funding is a big thing as well because
Funding is
can't
going to
do much without
ultimately
it.
be the biggest thing.
Funding is
100%.
the first step, I think.
Right. Because if you can't find funding to do any of this, none of it
And you
works.
Yeah, we put less people in jail.
a
That's so
big
just to
part.
dumb this thing down because I feel like we didn't do that. Just dumb it down because I feel like we all agree. We got to put less people in jail. Mm-hmm. These petty crimes, we got to figure out ways to reform them without putting them in prison.
Correct.
Because we don't have enough prisons and we don't have enough people to fund private ones. So
We ain't got enough at all.
So my thing is, we got to stop just throwing people in jail for crazy stuff. Drug addicts do not need to go to jail, and I think if you start there, that'll save a lot of room right there.
It would.
But in a perfect world, the reason that we get all these people in prison is because the police are just throwing people in prison for, nothing.
It's not the police.
Well, police
It's not
can't-
actually
put
the
you in-
police. The
what's
police
the
are
put you in
arresting
prison, though?
But people
They
in
can't
prison
put you in
is-
prison.
They can put you in jail.
They can't put you in prison, but
For a
they're
few
the ones
days.
that are starting that process.
But that's the law. See, so then
I'm
we
saying
got to
that's
go
the law,
down to
but-
the law and figure out should we change the laws as to what people can get.
It's not
arrested
about
for.
about the laws. It's about the discipline.
I don't mind people
behind
getting
the laws.
arrested.
It's about the rules behind the laws. What are the stipulations behind the laws? Yeah, okay, I get arrested. Okay, is it the type of offense it is? All right, what is the charge behind that offense? If you adjust all that, then completely, even not even a perfect world, you can change
and-
things.
People who get arrested don't mean that's you're going to prison though. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
Drunk and disorderly.
But you can. But if you drunk and disorderly, say you got into a fight, cool.
they just can't leave you out there.
No,
That's
no,
what
I'm
it
saying,
is.
an example.
Got it.
You were drunk
Got it.
and disorderly, cool. You get drunk, you get into a fight.
Drunk tank.
Boom.
Next
Yeah,
day.
No,
but
that's
wait.
fine.
That
Also,
don't always happen,
You get
though.
into a fight. That's assault.
Yeah,
Off rip.
That don't
Weekend,
always
a couple
happen.
days.
No,
Sometimes
you get assault if you got into a fight.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Wait, if you got in a fight, I said drunk and disorderly, meaning you
But
was
here's my
outside
thing.
drunk.
Here's my thing. If I got drunk and I got into a fight, I was drunk. That was me. I'm sorry.
Well, you got
I
in a
shouldn't.
fight,
I
that's
shouldn't be. I
different.
shouldn't be held. I shouldn't be going to jail for that. But the fact is, people go to jail because they get charged for an assault. No, if I get drunk and got into a fight, if we got into a fight and I ain't kill nobody, I'm just saying, if we get into you get too drunk.
Are you starting this fight?
Who knows? Wow. But
Who's going
no,
to jail? What do you mean?
For what?
They can just leave you out there. You
No, I didn't say.
fighting
I didn't
folks.
say leave me out there.
What they
I'm
gonna do?
saying like you get into a
Drive
fight,
you
then all
home?
of a sudden shut up. Let me finish. As I was saying, you get drunk, you get into
Fair
a fight. Yeah, you can get charged. I understand what can happen, but the fact is, some people will get into assault. Say if it was a black person, all of a sudden I'm getting 1 to 2 years in jail compared to all of a sudden, oh here go community service. Because you got
But
drunk
we're
disorderly.
conflating the issue, though.
So
That's my point.
I'm saying they take you off the street, they put you in for a night, and you get out.
I can
That's
deal
what
with
I'm
that
that. But
saying.
what he just
doesn't
said, that doesn't
always
always
happen.
happen.
Depends on what happens in court. That's a whole different.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
So to put a button on this,
They have to arrest you though.
to put a button on this,
He's fighting.
Of course.
They can just send you home.
don't get drunk and disorderly.
It's like,
I tried to let y'all go a little longer. But y'all went
Yeah,
off
so
the
you know,
rails. Y'all went way off a little bit. I mean, it wasn't way off.
we were still on topic.
Y'all were on topic.
Y'all was
but-
off when y'all was talking about traffic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We were still talking about jail.
We weren't planning on coming back. That's why we went off into traffic. But that's neither here nor there. So
That's why you went off in the traffic.
there you go. Play there. Got to play in traffic a little bit, and see what your life comes out of. So
wait.
Life gonna come out real flat.
Right.
That's what life gonna come
Flat,
out.
splattered.
everybody don't be flat. I was just
Nah.
saying. This
Some
is
people just
terrible,
twist it
man.
up.
Everybody don't be flat.
Some people separated.
Oh man.
This ain't no pop. So
Dismembered?
anyway,
No?
All right, I'm done.
Dismembered.
Wait, what? Hey, I apologize to anybody that feels any kind of way about what we just talked about playing in traffic.
For
Don't
all
play
those,
in traffic.
Please don't play in traffic. Don't be like Dom.
I think
Pretty sure he's got
we've
stories.
had a pretty good episode talking about prison reform. It's been really good. This is going to kind of wrap up our series for criminal justice reform.
It'll be back.
I'm sure we'll mention some things about different
Something
things going
happened.
on. But we got to get into another series, though. So I'm excited to, let you guys know what that is and really get into that on the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to go ahead and sign off from Boys to Men.
1, 2.